we're live. All right, live here. And live here. All right, so let's get angled properly. We're good over there. Back up just a smidge. Everybody can see what we need to see. Hi, Carrie. All right, just about ready to roll. Well, we're rolling technically, right? Isn't that what going live is? Rolling. All right, so I've switched up my microphone situation. Let me know what you think about the sound, right? That's more important sometimes than the video quality sometimes. So I want to make sure you guys can at least hear me. I know sometimes the angle isn't quite great and the light is weird, but you know, we're outside because now my Christmas tree sits where I usually sit. So it can't be in there on top of the Christmas tree. That's not going to work out. So here we are. So today I just kind of wanted to talk for a little second because I have something really exciting going on in my mind right now, but it'll be on the website soon. So I came home, not this past Friday, but the week before, and I was just so happy it was Friday. So happy it was Friday. I don't know if you saw my post or not, but just super excited that I didn't have to go to work tomorrow, the next day, you know, that thing. And we haven't had a vacation in over a year. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys are in the same boat, right? And I just need a break. So I thought if there was ever a time you needed a yoga retreat, right? But who can travel? Who wants to be, you know, in a small room with 10 strangers, whatever it might be, for however long. So we're going to do a virtual retreat. I'm super excited about it. I've got a lot of fun stuff planned. It's not just going to be asana practice, but it will be asana practice. We're going to try do some breath work. We'll do a little bit of meditation. I've got a special guest coming for you. So if you are a paid member on my website, this will be a free event, right? I'm really excited about that. So if you are not yet and you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it, now would be a really good time to join. Take a peek at anydayyoga.com for that information. You can also purchase it if you're not a member, but it is free for my members because I just wanted to say thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun so far, and I want to keep adding fun stuff like this to it. So if you're interested in that, take a peek over there. So that's enough of that for right now. Today we're going to be getting into opening the heart, right? Opening the chest, improving our posture, right? So if you sit at a desk or you drive a lot, today's class is going to feel amazing, right? If you don't love back bends, do not worry, right? If you have a really great back bend, fantastic. Take it, play with it, whatever you have to do today, but it's not necessarily just about that. So as long as you're not like this, right? That's the goal today, right? Whatever that ends up looking like on the other side, right? So that's where we're going to go. If you have a block, go ahead and grab it. We're going to play with our hamstrings a little bit too at the same time, just to kind of shake it up a little bit, right? But listen to your body and go places or don't go places. You are alone. There's no one to compete with and no one to judge. Oh, she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing. Oh, you know, she's taking a break when you don't need a break here, right? Right? All of that nonsense. We're good, right? So let me just quick check the notes here, make sure everybody's good. All right, Kiri, I'm excited too. All right, you guys, so let's go. Come to a comfortable seat, and you can prop up if you need to prop up, right? Grab your block and sit up on it. We're not going to be here terribly long, but if this is more comfortable, then let's do it, right? Aligning the heels to the groin as much as you can. We want to make sure we're upright on the pelvis, so a little bit of inner thigh rotation will help that. So engage the belly, think lifting your pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. We're gonna sit tall through the sides. So already the posture should be a little bit better. Right? Keep the belly working. Relax into your shoulders. The arms should be at the outsides of your body, the head of the arm bone anyway, right? Not kind of collapsing forward so your arms are in, right? You want to keep them out. Go ahead and close your eyes. And take a moment to simply be present. Notice how your bottom feels on your mat or your block if you're sitting up on a block. Notice how your muscles are feeling. And if it's not great, right, if the answer is not great to that, try not to linger with that. Be aware of the restrictions that your body is giving you without getting too bothered by the fact that something doesn't feel fantastic right now. Hopefully it will feel better later. And settling on your breath, right? Keeping that focus inward, just watching yourself breathe for a moment. Something so vital, and we almost never pay any attention to it. Breathing all through the nose, allow your breath to expand until it's just a little bit uncomfortable. So the inhales get a little bit bigger, the exhales are a little bit more complete. Making even the breath just a little bit of a stretch. And then keep the focus here. Watching the breath, keeping it nice and full, staying tuned in to what your body needs from you. Let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides, and on an inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. Coming together when the lungs are full, and then exhaling back to the mat, gently touching when you're empty. Again, like that. Let's go once more. And then back up to the top here. With the exhale, take your right hand back to the mat and just give yourself a little tip over to that side. Make sure the pelvis stays rooted. You're going to take a nice big breath here, keeping the right shoulder on the left shoulder back. And then all the way back up to the top. Inhale. Switch over to the left. Big full breath. Back to center. Inhale. Take it over to the right again and see if you can get a little bit bigger stretch this time. Maybe draw the shoulder back a little bit more, looking up if you'd like to look up. Back to center, inhaling. Over to the left, last one like this here. And then back up to the middle. Exhale, releasing your arms to the sides. And we're going to work our way around onto hands and knees. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, the belly is still working, supporting your lower back here. Nice and even on the four corners of the hands. If you need to cushion. So some cat-cows to begin. Inhale the belly toward the mat. And then exhale, you round the spine to the ceiling. And then just in and out like that. Connect it to your breath. Gently moving deeper in through the spine as you're ready. Once more in each direction. And then back to a center. So instead of being in this tabletop position, let's go ahead and take the knees back a step or the hands forward, however that's working for you here, letting yourself shift into a kneeling plank. So the belly's working, try not to let your hips droop or your bottom stick up in the air, right in the middle. Shoulders are neutral on the back. And you can definitely stay on your knees if that's better for you. How about maybe lifting the knees away from the floor though, make it a little bit more work. But again, if the pelvis droops or your bottom feels like it's sticking up, just drop the knees again. Finding the alignment is more important than where the knees are. From here, we'll go ahead and lift the hips and make our way to our first down dog. So let yourself just kind of stretch and wiggle into this. And then as you sink into it a little bit, remember to press down nice and even into the four corners of the hands. The more you press your chest back, the bigger your shoulder stretch gets. Hamstrings as well, of course. And the heels are going to reach for the floor, but they don't have to touch. Try not to walk your feet closer just so that your heels touch. It does not matter. And your body isn't that long, right? You want the body to be as long as it is here with the hips up. So from here, let's go ahead and lift the right leg. And we're just going to take it straight back. Keeping the hips square for a moment, press through the heels, both of them. Maybe you can sink a little deeper into that left heel now. And then lift the right hip. So the leg is going to lift a little higher. The shoulders want to shift too, but try not to let them. Bending at the knee, point the knee kind of toward the ceiling-ish. Take a peek over your left shoulder and see if you can see your toes over there. Okay. Releasing that, make your way back to down dog. And then we're going to do the exact same thing to the second side. So lift the left, extend out through your heels, and then open the hip, take the toes higher, bending at the knee maybe. And again, kind of peeking over. Releasing that side, back to your down dog. So here, let's extend that or lift the right leg again. And then we're going to step that foot through to the hands and come into a lunge. Go ahead and drop the back knee, adjust your toes to your fingers, right? Take your time getting there. And then let's take the right leg straight or straight-ish. So your fingers may touch the floor very easily. The leg might go straight, maybe not so much. So if you have your block, you can use it here. We're going to bend back into the knee and let the hips come forward. So simply lifting the chest a little bit here should increase the stretch in the left hip flexor and quad there a little bit. All right, if that's enough, that's enough. Bringing the right hand to the hip, we'll add in a little twist, rotating the belly toward the thigh, your side ribs toward the ceiling, maybe drawing the left shoulder back a little bit. And in your mind, keep the hips really square, but imagine stacking your right shoulder kind of on top of your left. So the left one tucks under as much as the right one draws back. We're going to release that. And then take the legs straight again. And see if you can find a little bit deeper stretch. So maybe you just fold forward, maybe the legs a little straighter. Maybe you finally don't need your block, right? You can flex your foot here as well. That'll change it up. And then bend back into the knee and let the hips come low. So we're going to sink. And you can stay with your fingertips on the floor if you need, or propped. Maybe climb up on the thigh. And the hips want to back up. See if you can drop them back down. Cushion that back knee if you need it, of course. And you can begin by simply pressing the upper body away from this right thigh here. right? So we come a little bit more vertical, maybe even just a bit beyond vertical. Keep the shoulders down and back. Hands can stay here for support. You can maybe extend. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. So if you want them someplace else, feel free to take them there. Let's go ahead and release, come back to our lunge, and step back into your down dog. So we'll take the second side, lift the left leg, and then step that foot through to the hands. Drop the back knee, toes all the way up to the top. When you're ready, left leg straight. Or straightish, propped if you need to prop here as well. Bending back into the knee. Let the hips sink. Let your chest lift. Again, working to keep the shoulders at the sides of the body. Hips are going to stay low. We're going to bring the left hand to the hip and rotate around into that little twist. Release the twist and take your legs straighter again, looking for that little bit deeper stretch. Watch that the shoulders stay back. And then again, bend into the knee. Let the hips come a little lower if they will. Stay low with the hands or maybe climb up. And just take your time, bringing the upper body as vertical as you can. Propping again here if you need to prop, certainly. Lifting the chest. Maybe lifting the arms or taking one of those other variations with them. And then gently release it. We're going to make our way back to lunge and into our down dog again. So let's go ahead and walk the feet up to the hands. Make your way back or into a standing fold here. Feet are hip bone distance apart to begin. And that's kind of our normal place, right? See if you can step the feet just a bit wider. And then the legs are straight here, and it doesn't matter if you don't touch your toes because we're not working to touch the toes anyway. Take your fingers and interlace behind your lower back here. Draw the shoulder blades a little closer together, and then stretch the hands away from the shoulders. So they may lift up off of your lower back, but don't make that the goal. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together and stretching the arms, the hands, really away from the shoulders. And you might feel the shoulders move away from the ears. That's a good thing. If you tend to hyperextend at the knee or elbow, just think tiny little baby bend. You don't want to hyperextend the joints. And then release the hands. We're going to take the feet a step wider. So remember that you can turn sideways on your mat if you'd like. We want to keep the foot all on or all off the mat so it's nice and even. And then take the hands, walk them over toward the right, and you touch what you touch. The weight wants to shift. Try to keep it in the center. Take it back through the middle and over to the left. Bring it back to the center and take the feet a step wider. So remember, listen to your body. When it's wide enough, it's wide enough. You don't have to keep adding and adding and adding. So this time, turn the toes out to the corners a little bit, right? You may need to adjust your feet wider or more narrow. Just watch what the body does. We're going to exhale, bend into the right knee. And then inhale, come back to the middle. And exhale, you bend into the left. Right, so you're just going to go side to side like that. And as the body warms up, you may be able to go a little wider. So you're going to watch the knee and track it in line with your toes. And try not to let the knee come forward of your toes, right? So you may have to open up your feet. So just side to side like that. If you want some extra fun, you can always flip the straight leg toes up toward the ceiling. I don't know if that's extra fun or not, but you get the idea? So we're going to go once more on each side. And then just find a middle again. Lock the feet back in. Bring them up underneath the hip bones. Let's bring the hands up to the thighs. You can take them to the hips if that's you, but if you want a little bit of support, take them to the thighs. Make sure your belly's still working. And we're going to bring the upper body halfway up-ish, keeping the shoulders back, right? The knees want to bend, the hips want to sit back, and the shoulders want to sag here. We don't want any of that. And if you're not parallel to the floor, don't worry about it. Inhale, hinge all the way up to standing. So we're going to flow through some sun salutes here. Make sure you're listening to your body. Take modifications if you need. We're going to work a little deeper into our shoulders here to begin, and then go from there. Right? So feet up underneath the hip bones. Let's inhale, stretch the arms to the ceiling. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up-ish. Exhale, step yourself back to plank. Knees if you like knees, certainly. All the way down to the belly this time. Hands next to the side ribs. We're going to roll those shoulders. Tiny little baby cobra. Release that. Up and back, down dog. Inhaling, step forward, fold. Halfway up, next inhale. Back over again. All the way up, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, release the arms. So same idea, we're gonna pause in the next little cobra so that we can expand into our shoulders a little bit. Other than that, same exact thing. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway up. Step back plank. Taking it to the belly. And again, pausing here for just a moment. So we're gonna roll into the shoulders like we did. Hug those elbows in, roll your shoulders, hold here. Imagine squeezing your elbows together on your back. Maybe add a little bit of a pull. Feel that length in your spine. So keep that. And then when you press into your hands, the chest can lift even more without pinching anything in the back, right? We get really excited to take the arms straight, but then the shoulders fall forward and you can pinch your lower back really easy here. You don't want to pinch your lower back. So release it. Up and back, down dog. Inhale as you step forward. Next inhale, halfway up again. Exhale over. Reaching to the ceiling. And then releasing the arms. So adding in a little bit with this next one. Still listening to the body, maybe opening deeper into the shoulders or not. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway up with your inhale. Exhaling, step back plank. Take it down. And roll to your cobra. Pull, press. Keep the elbows bent. See how much you can press into your hands, keeping the chest and shoulders where they are. Release that. Up and back, down dog. right foot forward into lunge. You can definitely drop the back knee again here if you want. Otherwise, drop the back heel. Inhale, stretch your arms up toward the ceiling. Relax the shoulders down and back. And even here, think lifting your chest up toward the ceiling. Tiny little baby back bend maybe. Releasing that, take it back to lunge and down dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. And then draw into the belly. So roll into your cobra, maybe pull, maybe press. See if now the body's pretty warm, you can keep the shoulders back and take your arms almost straight. Can you lift your thighs up off the floor here? Yes, no. Back down to the belly. Up and back into down dog. And then the left foot's gonna step forward. Toes all the way to the fingers. Drop the back knee if you'd like. Otherwise, the back heel and reach. Find your little baby back bend, whatever that might look like here. Releasing that, come back over to lunge and down dog. One more time, shift forward to plank. Drop it down. Keep the elbows hugging in bed. Roll, pull, maybe press. Lifting the thighs or not. Releasing back down, up and back into a down dog. And then go ahead and drop on down to your knees and rest in child's pose. So you can rest in child's pose anytime you want. You don't have to wait till I'm cueing it. And then go ahead and lift back into your down dog. Stepping the feet forward, we're going to come back to that standing fold again. Halfway up with an inhale, and then back over again. All the way up, reach for the ceiling, and exhale, release the arms. So let's go ahead and step back with the right foot. We're going to work into warrior two. So left toes are pointing forward, right toes are cut in just a bit. When we bend into the left knee, you can see the big toe beyond the knee. Yeah? So feeling even on your feet here. Extend the arms, shoulders over hips, and you can play with where the feet are, right? If you can move a little deeper, certainly move a little deeper. Take the right hand to the back of the thigh. Left palm turns toward the ceiling. We're going to reach it up toward the ceiling. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back. Let your chest open and lift. So you might feel a little bit of a back bend here. If you want to move a little bit deeper, the right hand kind of sneaks behind the thigh, maybe even to the inner thigh a little bit. So it draws the shoulder back. You feeling that already? You can add a little pull against the thigh. Drawing the left shoulder back, moving a little bit deeper into the stretch. Make sure you're listening to your body. Bring it back into warrior two where we started. Let's rest this left forearm on the thigh and bring the right arm up and over. Stretch through your right fingertips. Imagine stacking your right shoulder on top of your left here. Let's release that. Come over into our lunge again. And we're going to drop the back knee. So let your hips come forward. And if your hamstrings are short or they're very tight today, or maybe you're just not feeling it, right? You can absolutely simply take your left leg straight. Right? but maybe we keep the hips forward and walk the left foot forward. So you wiggle it to where it will go. Letting your hips come low, you can prop up in one manner or another. And then to feel the little back bend piece of it, you draw the shoulders down and back and think lifting your chest. Take one more breath here. We're almost done. And then we're going to wiggle on of that, come back into lunge. And yeah, sometimes it's not pretty, you mess up your mat, no big deal. So come up off your back knee and play with this. Again, there's nobody to see you, right? So play, see what happens. So you're up on your right toes, come up on your left toes. Feel weird? And then get a little bit bouncy here. I like to be up on my finger pads. It feels like it helps. I don't know. Right? And then without thinking too much about this, hop your left foot back. At the same time, you hop your right foot forward. And if it didn't work out, so what? Walk your toes up to the top, back into your lunge. Drop the back heel and lift your upper body. And we are ready for Warrior Two on our second side. Maybe you might have to adjust your feet. So make sure you see your big toe. Your feet are where you want them to be, and then the arms extend. Left hand to the back of the thigh. Right palm turning toward the ceiling, reach up. And you've got a little baby back bend. You add how much you want. Right? If this is enough, it's enough. You can slide the hand kind of behind the thigh toward the inside. Give a little bicep curl there. Drawing the right shoulder back more. Make sure everything feels nice and long. Again, pinching is bad. Back to Warrior Two. And then we bend the right arm, rest it on the thigh, left arm up and over. Releasing that, come back over into your lunge, dropping the back knee. Right? So again here, you've got these options of simply just taking the right leg straight, right? Or simply sinking into the hips, getting the stretch for the left leg. Or keeping the hips forward as you walk the right foot forward. And wiggle and find that place where is enough. Just because it doesn't look like something doesn't mean anything. If you're feeling the sensation, that's the idea. So prop if you want to prop, certainly. Lifting the chest to get a little bit more sensation if you need more sensation still. One more big breath. And then we'll release that. Coming back into our down dog. This is a lunge. So back into our lunge. Up on the fingertips, up on the right toes, as well as the left, obviously. And hop, right? Kind of bounce around a little bit. Hopping the left foot forward and the right foot back at the same time. So maybe the brain understood it this time a little bit better and it happened, or not, right? Step back, down dog. Dropping down to the knees and sitting back in your child's pose again. And again, just giving yourself a moment to kind of absorb what you've done. Everybody. need a bigger block. Do what you got to do for yourself. Always, 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 whatever that ends up looking like. So we're going to move back to down dog. And then again, step the feet forward into your standing fold. This time here, go ahead and bend down to your knees. With an inhale, roll your spine all the way up to standing. And we're going to take a little standing balance here. So, tons of places to be, things to put together or not, right? So listening to what your body needs. You might need to stand near a wall. You might want to be off of your mat. You may want your block, just maybe in front of your feet. It's there in case if you don't come anywhere near it, don't worry about it. Right? Forget I said anything about it. So take all of the weight over into your left foot. You're going to bend your right knee and then see about your right hand finding your foot. So we're going to start with that knee pointing at the floor. You're feeling that nice stretch in your quad and your hip flexor again. You can stay here. You can lift the left arm. Kicking the foot into the hand gives you a little bit of that back bendy idea. Feel it? Keep that sensation as you begin to hinge forward. And we're going to keep hinging forward, and keep hinging forward until maybe the left hand finds the floor or your block. And instead of your knee pointing down at the floor, in your brain anyway, it's pointing at the ceiling. You can open the hip. Make sure you're breathing wherever you are. And then the really fun piece is to get back out of it. So close your hip. All the way back up. And then release it. So sometimes these things are beautiful and graceful, and sometimes you're happy just not to fall on your face, right? Do what you need. Take your time. Again, nothing is mandatory, right, except breathing. You have to breathe. All the way to the right, bend the left knee, and then the left hand finds the foot. Knee pointing down at the mat, and you got your stretch, right? If it's enough, it's enough. The right hand can reach. Pressing the foot into the hand gives you a little bit of that back bendy idea. Keep that as you hinge forward. And how far you go is up to you. Maybe the fingertips hit the floor, maybe the hip opens, maybe neither of those things. Gently close it back up and come back up to standing. Releasing that foot. And we're done with that. So inhale, stretch the arms. We're going to come back over into fold again and step back to our down dog. Take your time getting there. Let yourself wiggle in it. If that was a really big back bend, you'll feel how your body needs a little extra second. All right, so drop down to the knees, and we're going to shift forward into that kneeling plank. Right? Or maybe you didn't really have to shift forward so much. So here, I think I'll turn this way so you guys can see. Take your right foot over to the right side of your mat, and then open the body to the left. So we're in a side plank variation here. Make sure your right hand is even on the floor, right? So you're not compressing the wrist. Make sure your belly is working, and you can stay here, or step the left foot kind of behind the body here. Anywhere but on top of your leg back there will work. Closer to rather than further away. Tuck your tailbone and lift your pelvis. Feel the back bend begin. So this left arm can stay stacked right on top of the right, or you can start to drop your left shoulder back toward the floor so your chest kind of turns toward the ceiling a little bit. Feel it? And then you can extend the left arm forward if that's you. And then release, make your way back to kneeling plank. All right, so you see what's going on there? We're gonna take that same idea to the second side. Left foot over to the left, opening the body to the right. So again here, make your body comfortable where it is, and then you add on or not. So maybe the right foot steps back, tailbone tucks, so again, no hinging. The pelvis kind of lifts to give that space. And then the right arm can lift, the right shoulder can drop back down, rotating the chest toward the ceiling. And then the right arm does what the right arm does. And we'll release that back into our kneeling plank again. Nice and easy here. Go ahead and sit back in child's pose. Again, take your time. If that was super challenging, that's where you want to work, right? If it was like, oh, that wasn't so bad, and you want to give the next little piece a go, then add on or not, right? And remember, you can always change your mind in the middle. If it's too much, you drop back, right? Or if you're still in that kneeling variation and you decide, okay, I got this, then give it a go, right? You're not stuck in stone. So back to kneeling plank if you're doing the knee variation, right? Otherwise, you're going to move into down dog. Lift your left leg, just like we did earlier. The hip lifts, the toes or the knee bends, and the toes are maybe pointing toward the floor over here. Trust that the floor is there and step the right foot back. So just like the kneeling variation, kind of, right? Turning the chest toward the ceiling, the left shoulder up or down, the left hand reaching toward the ceiling or more toward the front. Take one more breath. And then back to your down dog. Or kneeling plank. All right, so you've got your second side. You decide what to do. If you're on the knees, just take the left foot over to the left and open the body to the right. Otherwise, lift your right leg, open the hip, bend the knee, and then the toes come to the floor behind you. And of course, your right hand has to lift up. Okay? The tailbone tucks, the pelvis lifts wherever you are, and the right arm does what the right arm does. You breathing? Back to down dog or kneeling plank. Drop it down and sit back into child's pose again. How do you feel? And sometimes wiped is the answer, right? Sweating way more than I thought I would be. So that's my answer. So come to sit up on the heels. We're going to bring the legs around front. Extend the legs out long. And again, here, make sure you're upright on your pelvis and your thigh rotation if you need it. Sit really tall, flexing your feet. Extend the arms. And let's come forward, fold. So we've worked really hard to open the chest, right? Keep your shoulders back here. So if you never touch your toes with your fingers, so what? If you need to touch your toes to tie your shoe, you can bend your knee, right? So don't worry about that. Feel your hamstring stretch. Feel the alignment of your spine. Take another big breath. On an inhale, we're going to come back up again and release the arms. So from here, take your feet flat. Make sure you have space to go back. You don't want to just roll onto the floor here. And then C-curve your spine and roll on down to your belly. Let your knees hug to your chest and just rock a little bit here. So let's take the feet flat to the floor, knees bent and pointing to the ceiling. Ish. And find a neutral spine. So find where you're even across your pelvis. You've got that nice lumbar curve away from the floor, the cervical curve of your neck. Right? Your shoulders feel even across. And we're going to keep that as we extend the right leg straight up toward the ceiling. And then we want to reach behind the right leg here. Ideally, without losing any of that. Right? So we're still even across our pelvis, lumbar curve, cervical curve, shoulders down and back, right? This may or may not happen. So you can always use a strap, right? And you can put the strap behind your thigh, or you can put it over the toes, the ball mound of your foot, not your toes. Right? But keeping the shoulders back is the idea. So see if you can keep what you set here. As you exhale, pull your right leg in towards your chest a little bit, and then inhale, let it go a little bit. So just a nice and easy little in and out. And you may notice when the leg pulls in that you lose a little bit of the curve, or maybe when hip does something weird, or your shoulders want to roll up. And we don't necessarily want that to happen, but just notice that it does. And the more you pay attention to the alignment of the body, or prop sometimes is the key, the easier it gets. So we want to keep that. And now see if you can extend the left leg down toward the bottom of your mat. Ideally, that leg is straight with your foot flexed and the toes are pointing at the ceiling. This may or may not be reality. Right? So do the best you can, noticing again where the body kind of gets a little off. And don't get super judgy about it. If it's painful, of course, stop. Right? But otherwise, simply noticing and trying to make these minuscule adjustments as your body allows you to. As the body becomes more aware of where it's supposed to be, as the body becomes more flexible, these things just happen easier. But you still have to pay attention to it. So even if you are super flexible, you still want to watch what's going on. So we're going to find the center, where the right leg is as stretched as it can be with the neutral curve of this one. So it may be a little less than the biggest part of where you had that stretch. Take the left arm out to the left, and then glue that side of your body to the floor. We want to keep that exactly as it is. Support the outside of the leg, the right leg, with your right hand, and then begin to let your leg fall out to the right. Ideally, heel in line with the hip. It's easier if you let it fall down by your left, by the bottom of your mat, so to speak, but we're not looking for that. And you can just let the weight of the leg drop into the right hand. Take one more big breath. And then bring the leg back to center. For a moment, keep your right hip on the floor, but let your right foot travel across the body until you feel a nice little stretch in the outside of your right hip, right thigh-ish area. And then allow that leg to come all the way over to the left as far as it will go
And yes, that hip is going to lift up. Your left foot will kind of turn to the left, right? Maybe the leg hits the floor. Maybe it doesn't. You can use your block here too. Trying to keep the right shoulder resting back as much as you can. If you feel like you need to adjust, one of the knees needs to bend, or any variation, make sure you're listening to your body and take that. This should feel good. Yes, it should be a challenge, but it should still feel good. Take one more nice big breath. Bend at the knee, of course, if you need to. Come back to center. And then release your right leg down by your left for just a second. And if you're a little crooked, straighten the spine out again. But take a moment and just notice how different your right side feels from your left. And then we're going to fix that. So take your feet flat to the floor again to begin. Adjust again here if you need to shift your spine in one direction or another. And then let's go ahead and lift the left leg. Reach back behind the thigh. And that in and out with the left leg. Yeah, the left leg. Again, being aware of what your back is doing on the floor, where you're feeling your stretch. And if the right knee needs to stay bent, leave it bent. But maybe take that right leg straight too. Straight down to the bottom of your mat as if you're standing up on the right leg. A little bit in and out. Take one more, find the deepest part of that stretch. And then find that neutral place. Keeping the spine nice and neutral. That's a little stretch in the left leg. Extend the right arm. Support with the left hand on the leg. Let the leg drop out to the left. Keeping everything else as you have it here. The tendency is to sort of let the right hip lift and the leg fall to the floor kind of wherever it does. See if you can keep your alignment and not worry about how wide the left leg is. We'll take another big breath here. And then bring it back up to center. Keep the left hip on the floor for a moment. Take the foot over to the right, just enough to find that stretch. And then take that foot all the way over to the right as far as it will go. Maybe to the floor, maybe not quite. And again here, if you need to adjust in any way, make sure your body feels long. If the knees need to bend, let them bend. We'll take one more nice big breath here. Bend at the knee first if you need to. Come on back to center. And then release your left leg down by your right. So shift if you need to shift. And then kind of check in and hopefully your body, the sides match again. We'll bring the feet flat to the floor. And draw the knees back to the chest and let yourself rock again. So let's squeeze the knees in as tight to the chest as we can. See about wrapping your arms across your shins. Pull the forehead in toward your knees. Let your spine round. And then release into a full body stretch. Fingertips to toes. Every muscle is engaged here for just one last little second. And then we'll release. Let the arms come down by your sides. And make the body comfortable. So if you prefer your feet flat, if you want to prop in one way or another so that you're more comfortable on your back, feel free to do that. If you prefer a seated meditation, take that. Maybe even leaning up against the wall to sit tall. And wherever you choose to be, notice that the chest is nice and open here. The arms are fairly naturally to the sides of your body. And if they're not, can you release the muscles and allow them to open? Allow the focus to come back solely to your breath. And just let it flow as it naturally does. Keeping the mind focused on the breath without changing or doing anything. Just simply being present. And allowing the body to just simply rest here for a few minutes. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath. And then let that all go. Allow the body to begin to wiggle, move, and stretch.
you're ready, bringing the feet flat to the floor. Slowly making your way back up to seated. Sitting well, bringing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks for popping in today. Hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully you feel taller, right? A little bit better with your posture. Your back feels happy. Right? So yeah, thanks for joining me. Again, be sure to either sign up for my email, hop on to anydayyoga.com so we can stay in touch. And remember that virtual retreat coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bye, you guys. Have a great weekend.